Form 4 results. When the results come from England, when they came from Britain, the results were printed in the Nation newspaper and the Standard newspaper for the whole country.
So the government was very deliberate in terms of sending people to schools across different regions just to create that multiculturalism.
Yes, Milimani law courts. When you hear people speaking, I'm going to community. That's what the name comes from. University was one.
Joseph Makerere.
No, the University of East Africa.
Oh.
With 3 colleges. Makerere in Uganda. The then Royal Technical College in Nairobi became a University College in Nairobi. Then University College Dar es Salaam. There was an agreement between the government, the private sector, and the trade unionists. All employers in Kenya to take 10% of their permanent staff and employee. For example, at Form 4, the parastatals, the major companies will always come to secondary schools.
All levels now.
To book people.
For jobs.
For jobs.
Hi, welcome to this podcast series, Stories from Grandpa Sam. In this podcast, Dr. Samuel Obiero, an urban and regional planning practitioner and a lecturer with close to 40 years experience, shares with us some of his stories and moments and memories he experienced growing up in Kenya, straight from the 1950s up to date. In the last episode, Grandpa Sam was sharing with us how he was up to secondary school or high school as it then was, and he shared with us some of the experiences and happenings as they were happening from his secondary school years. In this particular episode, we'll be taking up from there and moving on to the next stage to hear some of his experiences and stories as they happened in the so-called A-levels.
Yes.
Grandpa Sam, welcome.
Oh,
we look forward to today's session again. And a reminder again, this podcast is proudly brought to you by Power IT Solutions, your cloud and solutions provider for Africa. Welcome, Grandpa Sam, again.
Oh, thank you very much, Oscar.
Yeah,
I'm very happy again to be with you.
Yes.
And to continue this program. As you have stated, the last episode ended when I was doing my O-level.
Yeah.
At Butula Secondary School.
Yes.
Which at present is a national school in the Busia County.
Then what kind of level school was it then?
School?
At that time when
it was just a normal second. In fact, it was one of those beginning secondary schools which were brought just at the time of independence, where I was. My class was at was the 3rd class to do O levels. And remember that O levels, all those examinations were set up in Britain.
Cambridge.
We came from the culture where it was known as Cambridge School Certificate, but this time the East African countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, they had now localized it, and it became East African Secondary School Examination Form 4. But it was still set and marked in England, and we're told it was marked at the University of Cambridge.
So wait, there's a time Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania shared a common O-level exam and certification.
It's certification.
How long did that last?
It lasted 2 years, 3 years. I think in the middle of the 70s is when each country separated. It was a continuation of the old East African community. Not the present day. Remember, there was the first East African community, which had its problems in the mid-70s.
Yeah.
When I mean toppled the government of Milton Obote in Uganda. Yeah. So even to inform you, by that time, we still had the East African currency about.
It was a shilling.
The shilling was for East Africa.
So we shared a currency.
We shared a currency, and the portrait on the currency, the notes, was Queen Elizabeth.
And I've heard stories sometimes where the present European Union came to benchmark on how the East Africa community
It was known during colonial days for common services. It was known as the East African High Commission. So when you still hear of the headquarter, is the present day Milimani Law Courts. When you hear people speaking, I'm going to community. That's what the name comes from.
Interesting.
And that was the headquarter of the East African High Commission Services. East African Railways and Harbors Corporation, East African Airways, East African Post and Telecommunication, all those ones were East African functions.
So hence, community.
Community.
I never knew
even
that.
the community started in Nairobi, but now they had to take it, the headquarter to Arusha.
Yeah.
In 1967. So we need to move this headquarter to Arusha. And that name for Upper Hill area, where we have the law court,
NHIF.
we have the Minister of Public Works, all of those ones. The house is known as community. That's how we have got the name community.
Good history. I never knew that.
Yeah. So the examination was the same all over East Africa for Form 4 and Form 6.
So you sat for the common East Africa.
I sat for the East Africa. It was East African Certificate of Education, which was known as O-Level at that time. It was for the whole, until Kenya now had the capacity to create its own in Kenya National Examination Council, but the East Africa. And for your information, at that time the university was one.
Those of Makerere?
No, the University of East Africa.
Oh.
With 3 colleges. Makerere in Uganda, the then Royal Technical College in Nairobi became a University College in Nairobi, then University College Dar es Salaam. So Dar es Salaam, for example, specialized in the law. Medicine was at Makerere. Engineering was at the University of Nairobi, and a part of agriculture, University College in Nairobi.
Wow.
By the time I was coming, let me go a little ahead. By the time I was coming to the university, it's my team, all the people I followed, who did University of Nairobi examinations.
So the previous were doing exams again from East Africa?
It was the East Africa, University of East Africa.
So their degree would read...
University of East Africa. And the chancellor was Julius Nyerere, the president of Tanzania.
Wow. And where was the headquarters? Or sort of the main...
No, these are the functions which now moved. Which moved to Arusha.
Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are getting very interesting things before we go to your A levels and other stories.
To O level,
yeah.
Remember the schools were very few. That time the schools were very few. These are at independence. The Kenya government came in with schools. They created a few, and Butula happened to be one created by the government. But Harambee schools now came very many.
This is in the 60s.
Just starting after independence, immediately after independence, Harambee schools started coming up. Now they started coming up. Then we went to Butula. Remember, Butula started at Amukura because they did not have facilities. So the first 2 years were done at Amukura. So there were 2 schools in one school. Then we reached Form 3. This school moved to Butula.
To its new location.
Yes. So, for example, that time, we had only 3 secondary schools in Busia County, which was known as Busia District. Those are Amukura, Butula, and Nangina Girls.
Wow.
And those were created, like Amukura was created, I think, in 1963.
And these were all created because of the independence.
The independence
by
when
the
it
government.
came. Yeah. But there are older schools, more established, which had A-levels. And that was where I came in at Kamsinga. Kamsinga was a French school. But if it had been before independence, then it was not possible, me, coming from a Catholic background, and I've ended up at Kamsinga, since it was a French school. But I think Kenyatta came and literally, you can say in the bracket, literally, he nationalized education.
Wow.
So that anybody can now go to any secondary school.
How was the entry or transition from O-level or Butler into KAMSA? How was it being done? Today we know.
Yeah, what was done
Yeah.
During my time now, examining examinations, marking examination was streamlined, starting from 1 year. But the people who did it before us were going to Form 5 after Form 4 with the mock results. Then you go to Form 5, and the examinations will come, the results will come either in the second term. When the results come, if you still score the same grade, you remain.
You scored lower?
You score lower, you move out. But during my year, we were going with the results.
Actual results from the East Africa Education Council.
From the East African Education Council. We used to go, the same results we actually went in second term, but the results had come out in March.
So second term started around
June. We went in May. We went in May, but the results went with the
actual results.
So
were you called, you would apply like we do now, or you will just find yourself
there? It's quite interesting. With the Form 4 results, when the results come from England, when they came from Britain, the results were printed in the Nation newspaper and the Standard newspaper for the whole country.
For everyone?
For everybody. You saw your results in the newspaper. Those no way of cheating. Those no way of cheating, your results were there.
For everyone to see.
To see. If you missed your name, then you have failed.
So only the...
And local people will say, jina lake lianguka kwa bahari. And not come across the lake, across the sea, the ocean.
So it stayed in the sea.
It remained there. It dropped in the sea. So the results came. Everybody knew it was a big thing. People were very few. Everybody knew about it. You are a hero. Everybody in the village, in small towns,
they celebrated you.
Celebrated. If you got a first class honors, they knew. With the type of marks you got, everything printed.
Wow.
And the same thing was going to be repeated at A level. And the same thing was going to be repeated in the university every year.
Every university would publish its graduates.
It was the University of Nairobi.
It will publish all its graduates.
If you are discontinued, it will be there. If you are doing a supplementary, it will be there. You cannot cheat your parents or your friends.
Wow.
Or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Like they do these days.
Yes.
Everything was there.
Yes, transparent.
Yeah, everybody was there.
Wow.
So even during that time, the results have already come. It was announced on the VOK, which is now KBC. If you are in a remote area where you were, you got into a bicycle over very early in the morning when the newspapers are arriving from Nairobi. All the small markets.
Yes.
People are buying newspapers. So and you read the results there. It was there. Everybody was seeing it. Everybody was congratulating you.
Or everybody was looking at you with weird eyes.
Yes.
His name dropped in the...
Yeah. There was Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. Then what they called GC, which was equivalent of grade 4.
So GC was like just a general pass?
A general pass.
Not average, this was just...
Yeah.
You passed through school.
But at that time, there was also another examination where some other people will do it. This was the University of London, GC, O-level University of London. Now, there was also a group which was doing that, especially for those people who are working. They will do that one there, and it was done earlier in August.
But it wasn't the same
and they
exam.
Still went to university with those grades.
It was recognized.
It was recognized for the University of East Africa.
And it was also marked in London.
It was marked in London. Of course, that was University of London now. That was University of London. So that group which were coming through that scheme.
Now, I'm interested. Your results have been published in the newspaper. Everybody has seen.
Yeah.
Now, how do you know which school are you supposed to go, or how do you...
You had already applied to the school where you are going, and the results, like in my case, I kept, because my secondary school was near my area, 4 or 5 kilometers, I kept on checking with the principal when the results, and that's where admission letter will come and you pick it.
From school.
From school. For those, and that was fairly an area which was access. For example, in other areas, what I used to hear, the letter will come to the district headquarters, then taken to the chief's camp,
into sub-chief.
Then it will go like that until it reaches you.
That will take months.
It will move. 2 weeks. That's why the results come out end of March, and you have March, May to report. But people who are going earlier, they were going in February actually. The earlier groups.
The people who would go to school in February?
In February.
Oh, the ones who would go with the mock results?
The mock results.
So there was only some schools that would admit people with mock results?
That time it was all schools were admitting by mock results. That was the
norm.
The mode, by mock results.
So now you finished, you've been called, you get your letter to Kamsinga.
Yeah, you got your letter, they have given you the details how you go. And I would like to say that at the time, there was no fees. The government waived school fees for A-levels. It was free. When I went to Kamsinga, I was required to go with 50 shillings.
So what could 50 shillings
20 shillings caution money. No, 20 shillings caution money. 20 shillings for medical cover and 10 shillings for library.
So just before you go, tell us what 20 shillings could buy in there, so that we can have an idea. You know, we have no context. What?
Let me go a little ahead. 2 years after Kamsinga, when I was the first year at the University of Nairobi, you could buy, that is after they've given you boom, like during Christmas, you could afford to buy between 10 shillings and 20 shillings. During Christmas, you will buy 2 shirts. Then they will add you one free.
And this is brand new, not Mutumba.
Not Mutumba.
There was no Mutumba there.
No, there was no Mutumba those days.
This is River
Mutumba were
stuff.
not there. Yeah. You either bought a yardi, a clothes, and you take to a tailor to tailor for you, or it's factory made.
Rivertex.
Rivertex was just coming into place, but you had Van Hussein, Shikibo, which were done locally, but they were brands from Britain. Everybody believed in Britain, maybe in England. So when you report to A-level, you took your box, you had shoes.
So the only thing
you had clothes to change. When you arrive, even in your secondary school, you are not using trousers. That's the time the school will provide you the trousers as uniform.
So when you go to school, you just had an empty box, so to speak.
Literally. Of course, you had your clothes and so forth. Because even blankets you were given at school.
Wow.
Everything was given to you, a blazer, and plus food.
So you will enter like this. You remove the clothes you went with, you get given uniform.
They come, the tailor will come.
On measure you.
At least for the first 2 weeks. You'll be using your own clothes. But the tailor will come to fit all of you.
Wow.
Unasema kupima. And that also used to happen at the secondary school.
The O levels.
From 1 to Form 4. From 1 to Form 4, we used to pay fees. It was high for those standards, but it was fairly good, because at Butula you are paying 450 shillings per year, and you are given 3 sets of uniform. I think I said that before.
Yes.
You are given soap for washing and bathing and so forth. When you went to
now at
Kamsinga, you are given even bedding, and you are even given a mattress. After Form 6, you carry the mattress.
So literally you go home with your mattress and continue life from there.
You continue life from there. And that made a big difference from kids who came from poor families. With this, there was that equalizer standardization. Yes. That was standardization. Then the other thing, at that time, even at the case of Butula, the majority of teachers were still expatriates. Mostly British, in some few schools Americans.
Oh.
Yes. Then at Kamsinga, when I arrived there, school staff of 16, 3 were Kenyan, black Kenyans.
The rest were
The rest
expatriates,
expatriates.
and I assume white.
Wait, Wazungus. They were Zungus. Yeah.
So it's the government that hired them, or it's
It was the government which hired them. It was
the church as well?
the churches. The church was still very strong. It was still the British. There was what British grants. Most of them were employees of British government as a part of grants to Kenya. Yeah. And particularly Kamsinga being an A-level school, an old school, I really got very surprised when I looked at the staff list. Because at Butula you will get somebody, this one were the diploma guys from Makerere. But at Kamsinga you'll find University of Oxford, University of Cambridge, University of Manchester, people behind their names.
Wow.
For Oxford and Cambridge, their first degree was MA.
Master in art.
Master in art or MSc.
So you are being taught by teachers who had master's degree.
Yeah, you see, Cambridge and Oxford, their first degree was always even nobody got in. You went all through up to masters.
So you, so to speak, you leave from BSc to masters before you leave.
Yeah, that's what they used to do in Britain. They now changed back to BA and so forth. But the majority there were guys who had masters teaching at A-level schools.
Wow.
Yes.
And how was the experience? Was this any
So
different?
now when you go to, for example, you came from Butula, the facilities were not there. Some of us who are science-oriented, who are taking science subject, were really struggled. So that sometimes we're doing these experiments in the first experiment you are dealing with the examination at all level. Is when you are now doing the experiment.
Seeing a Bunsen burner.
Bunsen burner were done with it, but some things like meter bridge, you've only seen it in a diagram. But on that time, the school has borrowed from another school, like Butula will borrow from Mumias, St. Peter's, for that day's examination, if it's practicals. Yes. Of course, they will, St. Peter's, for example, will be doing the examination during the day. And remember, there were no phones or anything.
So there was no cheating.
There was no cheating. You are held down somewhere in a room. And then they will rush the equipment. And then you are finding it for the first time. You are seeing it, and it was really a challenge. But when you went to Kamsinga, those things in the laboratory, it was an A-level school. Those things were all there and so forth. That was the big difference. With the schools which were just starting and those which had started much earlier. And remember, A-level was not training you for a career. Even in government, for career purposes, was O-level. A-level was on one purpose, university.
Wow.
In fact, the disadvantage, the guys who did the A-level, then didn't go to university. They are still back to come and fall back.
So all they had was now the O-level to show for it. And
yeah, for even the government employees and parastatals, it was
the O-level.
The O-level was the big thing. University, A-level was only to prepare you for university.
Hey, it must have been a big deal being into A-level. You were among
it was a big deal. The schools were very few. Of course, at all level, the schools are now becoming localized. So you'll find people like Butula, you'll find the majority are from the then Western Province. Western Province students would be there with a few from other provinces. But when you go to A-level, it was the whole of Kenya. You'll find guys from the coast, from Rift Valley, from Central, from Eastern, from Nyanza for A-levels. All of you are there at A-levels. So people, when you are coming up, you don't have the things like localization. Yeah. And when you left A-level school, you continued to university, in your careers, everything was A-level.
Let's circle back a little bit to how you're saying. So the government was very deliberate in terms of sending people to schools across different regions just to create that multiculturalism.
Yes, that time it was a student, you went, Those one who started earlier, even during colonial days, it started at Form 1. Those children used to travel long distances to go across the country. But definitely at A level was national.
There was no such thing. This is our school.
No.
This is a national resource school.
That was the national. The teachers were that way and so forth. Later, of course, now the community started building classrooms and so forth. Remember, before then, all development was a government. It was serikali. And we had guys from Central, we had people from Rift Valley, we had one guy from Coast, Kamsinga.
How many students were you when you entered in your class?
That time now it was through your course, because you are oriented through your course stream.
I see.
Yeah, and people were not taking exactly the same
subject.
Same subjects.
So we had people sitting in, what you're saying is we had science guys sitting in their own stream.
The science guys will find somebody doing science.
Physics, chemistry,
mathematics,
biology,
geography.
Then we had the guys for history.
Then the guys for history, geography, and so forth. Religious study and what have you. Yeah. But now you took 3 subjects which were leading you to university. And university, they required 2 principals. Yeah. What they required was always 2 principals. Anybody who got 2 principals went to university.
So what is principal?
Principal, we had at A level, there was principal 1 up to 5. A, B, C, D, and E. Those were principals.
So principal 1 is like an A?
It was like an A. Principal 1 was like an A.
I see.
Yes.
So you needed to have gotten at least 2 A's. And how many?
No, not 2 A's. 2 principals.
What? Okay.
2 principals.
That means?
You end. Of course, now when you go to the stronger, that will now come into your course you are going to choose, the cut of the course. There are, as long as you got 2 principals, you are going to the university in East Africa.
Any that you wanted?
That one will be according to your
wow.
stream and your marks.
I see.
You go to the university that you are being admitted in. Of course, there was general paper. Everybody had to do general paper.
What's that?
General paper, you have to do, what do they call it? Things like communication today in the universities, all those things.
Those common courses, so to say.
All those you do at
entrance.
At the
university.
Yeah. Where are you doing them at A level?
Before you leave or when? As
a part of that examination. So let us say somebody has taken 3 courses plus general paper. General paper always came as a subsidiary. It was always pass or fail. Yeah. And if you fail that one,
you can't proceed.
You can't go to university.
So the first precondition, you must pass your general paper.
Yeah.
Pende usipende.
Usipende.
And then
so that's where so it meant if you are going to do even history at the university, you must know about the history of science, those issues and so forth.
I see.
Yeah. And if somebody has done, if you are going to do science or physics and you want to go and do medicine, you must look at about colonialism in Africa, the freedom fighters, all those things. And
the so-called Vasco da Gama histories.
Vasco da Gama was history at all level, but now this one was and every month, at least in the course, you always got speakers coming in to talk to you. Whether they're guests of literature like Okoti Pitek, I remember him coming. I remember the headmistress of which is now principal Nolega from Lugulu Girls, which was an A level about 20 kilometers, now coming to talk to us boys. At the relationship between boys and girls, the life at the university and what have you.
So preparing you.
Preparing you. And then you got possibly pastors. You got even sheikhs to come and tell you about Islam.
Generally, not trying to
convert you. It's
just
preparing
trying to teach you.
They're preparing you for university, and the university you are a leader. You're being prepared by the system to be a leader.
So before we continue, I want to understand. You've gone to A level. You're being given shirts, basically every uniform.
Yeah.
I remember you once mentioned how you are also being fed.
We're being fed.
How was the feeding? Were you eating the same githeri we some of us ate?
No, at Butula, and now I can compare. Butula was coming from a different level. The moment we moved to
A level.
Now you find nowadays you are taking your tea with bread, buttered bread. For example, that time.
Not blue band.
Blue band. This is the thing I have not seen it for a long time. The big thing used to be butter.
Hey.
Even when I grew up, when I used to visit my father when I was in the primary school or secondary school, when he was still alive, it was always butter.
Blue band is low cost butter.
But butter KICC. It was butter KICC.
You would eat bread with butter.
Margarine, I can vouch for it. When I arrived in Nairobi at university, I started seeing that there's another alternative to butter.
Blue band margarine is a low budget butter. So if you're having butter, you're having the top of the range.
Yes, those butter. Because the reason was that we had a farm.
In the school?
No, we had a KCC. KCC, which was a form of paracetamol.
Kenya Cooperative Creameries.
Yeah, and that was the market. Remember, most of the guys in rural areas, they had their own milk.
Oh yeah,
they had own milk. Even the smaller towns, that people who were peddling milk. That was the milk people were buying. So KCC was there. I think it was for institutions like the police, the hospitals, the army. Then the schools also came in that market.
I see.
Of KCC.
So let's continue the meal. So you get bread with butter.
Yeah,
made for you.
Made for you. You can also take uji. It used to be there with sugar.
That's breakfast.
Butula we used just to have uji.
So breakfast you have that.
Yeah.
What time is that?
No, that I can't remember now. It's sometime 50 years ago. Over 50 years.
But it's morning.
It's very morning before you start your class.
Around 6, 7?
7, because we're starting classes at 8, which meant we were already
eaten and ready.
Yeah, we were ready there. Then there was time for break at Kamsinga. It was for those children who are able, they were empowered, they were facilitated. For those who had thermoses and what have you, and they can afford the sugar, they were facilitated to get hot water. Then they can take their tea.
So but 10 o'clock tea?
10 o'clock tea.
But you must have had your thermos.
If you have your thermos, you go for hot water.
So the school kitchen will give you the water?
The water.
And you have your cocoa, whatever you have?
You have your cocoa.
Hey, did you have a thermos?
No, some families we didn't have.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting. We had a name for it. Those people who could not afford this tea, time for break, you went in the sun to bask. So you are known as you are in the lizard club.
The lizard?
Because a lizard likes basking on a rock. So you'll be classified, you are a member of the lizard club.
So you go bask in your sun, then you go back and continue. Having eaten your vitamin D.
Yes. Then, of course, it will come meals. Mainly there will be githeri, of course, we used to be there. Lunchtime, there could be rice on occasion. There could be ugali. On the days, if there's a visiting school, they could throw in rice plus chapati.
Hey,
yeah.
Chapati?
Yeah. And Kamsinga, they had a farm. So they were self-reliant. They had a tractor and so forth.
So the vegetables?
They had the vegetables. If you are a student, the schools looked at all the children from A level to from lower primary, from lower secondary, from Form 1 to Form 4, and even Form 5 and Form 6. Those one whom they found out had a problem financial, despite that everything was subsidized. Then you will be given a plot.
A plot of land?
On the school farm, where you will plant, and then the school will be harvesting your crops to use, then they give you money.
So I'm in school, after studying, I get out of the evening, I put on my short and get my jembe.
And you get the jembe from the school.
And I go lima my shamba.
You plant there.
They give me maize.
Vegetables. It was mostly vegetables.
Skuma wiki and all that.
Kunde.
And I take care of it.
You take care of
watering
it. Watering it.
Giving it manure.
Yeah.
And I'm in school.
And your school, you go in 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes. It will be like 1/8 of an acre.
But
then the school will harvest and give you money.
Then you use the money to?
Now for your own?
For sustenance.
Yeah, for sustenance.
But
because remember, you have to go. There are some things like some people, you're not given a good soap. You want different soap. You want some oil. You're going home during
midterm.
You're going over the holidays and so forth. But now from 5 and from 6, if you came from outside, for example, that school, you will find these guys who are there already knew what was happening. So they applied in advance.
To get the plot?
To get the plots.
So it wasn't like...
because the plots were limited, there were not so many.
So I would think getting the plot would be something that would put you in a position of disadvantage, stigma, but clearly it was hot sort.
Even children who are fairly rich, that's what they will always try, because that's now his money.
It gives you some extra money.
That's now his money.
Wow.
They gave them some independence.
So it was hot cake.
It was hot cake.
My goodness,
yeah. But that was a school. Remember, like this school had a coffee farm. Yeah. They had even a small forest where they used to get their firewood. So it was a little, when you were there, it was a little, of course at Butula, we had, there was an agricultural tutor who had been in the military in Malaysia. And then he liked biology, he was teaching biology and agriculture. He introduced dairy farming, he introduced poultry, and he introduced piggery. So occasionally he will slaughter for us
a pig,
pork. We used to have eggs to supplement the school. The school were trying, and the milk used to come from those cows. But Kamsinga was very established with their cows, with those whole things, their farms. So instead of employing people to look after the students, were quick, everybody.
To work?
To work to get that one there. And your crop, at the time of harvesting, you will be there. It's recorded down.
Wow.
It's recorded down, and you are given money. And remember, even if you had your pocket money from home, you always deposit that money with the school bazaar.
You don't stay with your money, you give it?
No, you give it out, then he will be giving you.
As you request or routinely?
As you request.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So
like this boy, his money will go to his account with the bazaar.
And this is paper ledgers?
Yes. Then he will keep that money.
We must have been very trusting those days.
No, things were, you remember I told you the story of the sending money by poster.
Yeah.
Postal letter. People are very trusted.
Why?
Yeah.
So
now, when you are now in Form 5, because some people are now already at 21, remember ID was only obtained at the age of 21.
21?
Yeah. That was the age of majority. Even voting was the age of, all over the British Commonwealth. It was 21.
So you were going to
A-level? We were going when we were fairly big boys.
2021?
2021. People are living
most people in A-level had what?
Yeah, they will call it the registration bureau will come straight to school before the end of the year, so that you leave that place, you have your ID.
Were some married? Just curious. Were some people in A-level and married?
Of course, that was known who was married.
Yes.
Who was married. But we kept quiet. We knew some people were parents. And that also happened even in girls' schools. Yeah.
Interesting. So it must have been a very interesting experience and time in A-level. It looks like that was a time when you were in education. It was exciting.
It was exciting and so forth. That time, you had everybody had very high hopes of you. Yeah. Before they had the University of East Africa, before Dar es Salaam, and Nairobi became university colleges, everybody knew you are going to Makerere.
That's the cream.
And for local people, at least in Busia, to explain to somebody I'm going to the University of Nairobi, or to interpret to these local guys I'm going to Makerere in Nairobi. That's what they,
So Makerere was synonymous to
as a
university.
university for the whole of East.
So
Remember,
even
it
if
was,
somebody is going abroad, you say he's going to Makerere of London.
yeah. Remember, it was for the whole of British-speaking
Wow.
Southern and Eastern Africa. The University College was Makerere, and it was a constituent college of University of London.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So as we come close to these are very exciting conversations. I think I've learned some interesting things. The Lizard Club, the age of majority was 21.
Yes. Age of majority to get an ID was 21. To vote was 21.
So some people would finish A level and go into employment straight, and some would go to university, of course.
Yeah. For example, at Form 4, the parastatals, the major companies will always come to secondary schools
All levels now
to book people
for jobs.
for jobs.
Hey.
So for me, when I finished A level, I did not go back to Busia. I had my small mattress, I had been given at Kamsinga, my other things.
Hey, you tied them
I
together.
gave to a village mate who was in Form 4, who was finishing his examination the next day. I found my way to Ebuye railway station
Straight from Kamsinga.
from Kamsinga, and that was in November 1971. It was still known as Broderick Falls.
That's Webuye town.
That was Ebuye town. The paper company was just coming in when the name changed. So I arrived in Nairobi.
So
I'm
from
going
Webuye,
ahead.
you went to Webuye straight, you were heading to Nairobi, not
I
home.
was not home. I went to Nairobi. One of my teachers gave me a letter to his classmate, who was the financial controller of a company, a British company in
Nairobi.
And then I arrived with that letter. I handed it at the reception. They were asking me if I had an appointment. I told him I don't have an appointment because there are no phones. Then the reception told me I'll take the letter in and that was a British. If he want to talk to you, he'll talk to you. When that guy found it was his student of his classmate, the financial controller walked across the factory.
Wow. To come see you.
To come and tell him again.
A white man.
A white man. To ask me, they have never met with his friend. He says he had never met, he saw you in the newspaper, you have come, you have got this, and did not have time to reach you. That's why he gave me this letter. Then I was asked, when are you reporting to work? That was now at 10.
Wait, the letter was also giving you a job at
He
the
was
factory
asking that guy if you have a position.
to give you.
Yeah. Then he told me, I don't have a job, but there is a small place you can start. So when he asked me, when are you willing to start? I told him now.
So straight from Makerere, from Kamsinga
Kamsinga.
into a job.
Into a job 2 days after my last paper at 11.
Must have been nice. Must be nice. Yes. Then that's how you started your first job.
So he called the chief accountant, told him to arrange for a desk. This guy, I can only just on behalf of my friend, is going to start with us. Let's find him work to do. You know, you are saying you have more than enough clerks. This is the one.
Wow.
Remember, that was the time, those trap-tight agreement. When the unemployment case, you remember I telling the president, the 1970 case, when there was now an issue of unemployment for people who have left Form 4, there was an agreement between the government, the private sector, and the trade unionists, all employers in Kenya to take 10% of their permanent staff and employ.
And employ them.
Yeah. So this company had already taken its share of 10%. But now the financial controller insisted they must be employed.
I know we could go on and go on, but we have to come to an end or conclusion to this particular episode.
So we shall still pick from there.
We'll pick it up from there. It's fascinating. from the Lizard Club to getting a job straight out of A-level. My goodness, I wish. What's changed? We'll have to know what's changed till we are here, so many millions of us jobless. Thank you very much, Grandpa Sam. Your stories, as always, are very fascinating and capturing and captivating. I hope our audience is enjoying as I am enjoying them. Once again, this is your podcast, Stories from Grandpa Sam. See you next week for our next installment. Goodbye.
This episode was brought to you by Power IT, powering your business through cloud technology. Special shout out to Black Sanduku Africa and Photomagic Studios for the production of this episode.